Qatar, a key mediator in the Israel-Hamas war, has condemned Wednesday's Israeli airstrikes on the Gaza Strip, saying they were threatening to upend the fragile truce. Gaza's health ministry says at least 25 Palestinians were killed in Israeli airstrikes across the Strip on Wednesday, in what was one of the deadliest days since the ceasefire came into effect 6 weeks ago. It said many of the sites targeted sheltered, displaced families. Israel said that it launched the intense wave of airstrikes in response to an attack on its troops in the Khan Younis area. Let's go to our Middle East correspondent, John Donnison, who joins us from Jerusalem. And John, tell us more about what Qatar is saying.
Well, Qatar are not happy. Of course, they were one of the key mediators in this deal between Hamas and Israel, and they say that it is risking what is a pretty fragile truce. The truth is that ever since that ceasefire came into effect, 6 weeks ago, Palestinians in Gaza have been dying in Israeli strikes on an almost daily basis, and yesterday was one of the deadliest days. But since that ceasefire came into effect, more than 300 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli strikes, according to the health ministry in Gaza. Now, Israel says, as you say, that it is going after Hamas terrorists. Many of those who die are people who are apparently going into zones where they're not supposed to go within Gaza. But, you know, President Trump has insisted when that ceasefire came into effect that the war was over. You know, if it is over, it could resume any time.
What are we hearing from the US at this point about the situation there, John? Because in the immediate days after the ceasefire, we saw, didn't we, a string of top-level officials in the region to try to really cement this process. Obviously, they couldn't, keep that up on an ongoing basis. So what is the US saying about its role right now and the current situation?
Well, of course, we had that US-backed resolution at the UN Security Council earlier this week, which approved President Trump's plan for Gaza. He is going to be chairman of the Board of Peace. But that plan, really, only stage one of that has happened. So that was the release of the remaining hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. But there are many, many unanswered questions. Who is this stabilization force which is going to go into Gaza to provide security? Which countries are those forces going to come from? How are Hamas going to be disarmed? They're showing no signs of wanting to do that. And who is going to govern Gaza? Hamas has said that it is not happy with foreigners, in effect, being in power in Gaza. They see that as sort of colonialism. So there are many, many unanswered questions. This US-backed Security Council resolution, I guess, is important because it keeps the momentum going. But, we are a long way away from any sort of stability or resolution to this conflict in Gaza.
So would you say right now, John, that there is a disconnect between the plan and the realities on the ground there?
Yeah, I would say that. And of course, that also doesn't go into the humanitarian situation, which continues to be desperate in Gaza. Still enough aid is not getting in, and we're heading into winter now. It's getting colder. We've had torrential rains at the weekend. It's going to be a difficult winter for the 2 million people who are living there.
OK, John, thank you very much. John Donnison in Jerusalem for us.